about down here on earth, the people that fell into a dead state and lost all senses of the Godhead. That's the real devil. You got it wrong. You see what I'm saying? So to wake up every morning is not, and I repeat, and we can debate on this, to wake up every morning is not necessarily a blessing. That's right. To wake up every morning is not necessarily a blessing. You see, somewhere around 2,000 years ago, this thing got changed around. The whole key to our mysticism and our mystery was to get back to the higher realms. Remember, they talk about a man that fell to the fallen realm. So to wake up when you have fallen from grace and glory is not necessarily so positive. That's called fundamentalism and moralism that have nothing necessarily to do with spirituality. The last 2,000 years we have been dealing with fundamentalism and moralism that has something to do with a social religion is based on economic, political, mundane, and social reason, but not necessarily real spirituality. We want to address these problems because I think this is a critical point that we turn everything around. Now, I first started out and I gave some of you this Christ ritual. Now, let me explain this to you. First of all, the Christ ritual, I explained that a brother had to go to court and he couldn't find out what to do, but he remembered getting this ritual from me a couple of months ago. And he ended up doing this when he went to court. They ended up being in favor of him, and the white woman that was battling against him, they almost locked her behind her. Now, what is actually happening here? It means, is it not written in your law that ye are gods, which means that you are the microcosm of the macrocosm. Whenever you do these particular things, you are only empowering the energy within yourself, the God force which is in yourself. Now, even when you pour libations, you are only empowering the God force that's in yourself. Because the ancestors, not only when they go to the celestial realm, they live inside of you. That's why sometimes when you are going through some things, sometimes you might hear a person might tell you, don't do this. And you say, well, damn, and it might not necessarily be your higher self, the God of nature, it could be your mother telling you. You say, well, one of my ancestors came to me and told me not to do that. That means inside of you is a whole universe that exists, all of us. So when you pour the libations, you're not only giving blessings to the ancestors, you are also empowering yourself. That's the key. That's the real key. Because they exist inside of you. We live in a multi-dimensional universe, and you got to understand the concept of how the universe works other than what is the basic conventional way that has been taught. You understand what I'm saying? And so one of the key things, well, right here? Okay. One of the key things is to get out of these fears. You are now in God's school. The other people, that's the masses of people, are depending on you. You are the Godhead, and you are going to be the ones that's going to get our people out of this mess. Not nobody from the skies, because the ones coming from the skies are coming in you and through you, and you will be a part of that particular Godhead. The ones that get your people out of this mess. So you got to start thinking of yourself as more advanced beings than just waiting on something good to happen to you, because you are the ones that make that happen. So make that happen. So that's why the Christ ritual was to actually enhance the Godhead inside of you. Now, this Christ ritual was taken from the teachings of the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah was introduced to the European Jews in Spain by a Moor by the name of Moses de Leon. That introduced, anytime you start reading the Kabbalah, they'll talk about it was an oral tradition, then it was introduced in Spain. Anytime you hear anything introduced in Spain, you know who that was. That was the Moors. You understand what I'm saying? So it was introduced to the European Jews, which, came about in Spain. Had nothing to do with the original Hebrews, but this is the original Hebrew material. This is one of the A.E. Waite's Holy Kabbalah, which I recommend highly. A.E. Waite's Holy Kabbalah, which I recommend very highly. And it was introduced into Spain by them. Now, the key is you got two sets of Jews. You got some that just basically study the Torah and the basic laws of Moses and that whole 9 yards, which is the first part of the New Testament. which is, your Old Testament. Then you have a crew that studies what is called esoteric Judaism. And that's your Bible with your Jews, or what you call them. Which we was laughing at the little people in the black, look at them and all. And you didn't know the whole time they were studying the esoteric doctrines. Go back and rent the movie, A Stranger Among Us. In the movie A Stranger Among Us with Melanie Griffith, she had to go and live amongst them to find out about a murder. And when she went in this room and they was all sitting down and they were studying. And he said, yeah, you didn't know, we studied 13 hours a day. We studied the Kabbalah. And he kept quoting the Kabbalah, saying that the woman is the most feminine thing, the feminine spirit, and the woman is the most highest level in the universe. Now let's break this down. Because we know that one of the most sexist doctrines in the world came about what is called a Judeo-Christian religion, where the woman is only, if she's not a hoe, she's just some side bed wench to some great patriarch. That is what it's called. Now let me break this down again. And I have to, see, if I sound redundant, that's because we're getting to what is called the common denominator. It's not just coming and throwing out a whole lot of knowledge and you don't know where to draw from. You understand what I'm saying? As you grow, things are supposed to be simplified. It's not that hard. You understand what I'm saying? So because I have grown in my consciousness, things are a lot more simple. So let me explain what I'm talking about here. And I always quote this, and it's a good thing to start off. And this is the point which we're supposed to be dealing with right now. And we're supposed to be dealing with the esoteric doctrines. If you're going to deal with esoteric doctrines, and I always say this, the esoteric doctrines to Christianity is Gnosticism. The esoteric doctrines to Judaism is Kabbalistic, Kabbalah. The esoteric doctrines to Islam is Sufism. You see what I'm saying? It's Sufism. Muhammad taught a version of Sufism. That's why it sounds different than the regular basic Orthodox Islam, because it's higher than the basic Orthodox Islam. This is what the Prophet Muhammad's father was into, a Cushite Arab. You understand what I'm saying? So we're dealing here with the esoteric doctrines, which is that which is hidden, the advanced thing. The other thing is given to the average person, just to keep them in line. And basically, the other doctrines, as far as your exoteric. Now, the exoteric is the one that everybody get: the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Old Testament. Those, once you get a certain level, those should also be null and void to you. Although you can go back in there and pick up the keys, because you will find out that one was taken from the other. You understand where I'm coming from? Anybody got any questions on this? There's two realms of what we're dealing with here. Now, in the esoteric Kabbalah, we're dealing with this particular time. We'll take different subjects, but we're dealing with the Kabbalah in the next 2 days. In the esoteric Kabbalah, the highest realm of spirituality is the feminine principle. Now, all of a sudden, that sounds more like that these particular people were Egyptians. Because we know that the highest essence of the Kamite was the feminine principle. It's called a Shekinah. In Egypt, it's called a Shechem. The feminine principle. You can't get to the higher realm until you go through the feminine principle. Now, dealing with this, and when we go into this today, because we're going to be dealing with this the next 2 days, we're talking about the esoteric doctrines. Now, dealing with this particular paper is talking about going to the Christhood, and these particular divine names are inside of you. Now, they are inside of you. I want to clarify that now, because this is very key that we understand at this particular time. Now, the sister asked a question which I'll lead off on. She said, well, why is this stuff coming to us now? Is that what you're saying? Why are you getting these bits and pieces and stuff coming to you now? That's what you're saying? No, explain to me, because I want to get it right. I want to answer your question first.
Yeah, in a way, it's, I'm not angry at it, but I do ask myself the question, all of a sudden we just being bombarded with all this information.
Okay, right.
It's like now.
Right. Okay. It is a prophecy. Here's a book I want you to write down. This guy is A.T. Mann. Now, in this book, it's called Millennium Prophecies and Predictions for the Year 2000, which is probably the best book on prophecies. Because this particular person took every prophecy they could find and they put it in one book.
That's not like Nostradamus?
Nostradamus, but he deals with Nostradamus, everybody. This is A.T. Mann. Now in here, I'm going to show you something. In here, it's interesting you say that because that's the way the Spirit works. I'll ask the question that I was pondering on the last couple of days. Listen to this. It says, I want to get to, it says, I think it's 1990. 1990. There was a woman by the name of Alice Bailey who had a prophecy. In 1990, this was the prophecy. Alice Bailey first got her prophecy. I think they came, whatever this particular entity that came to her was in the late 1800s. Now, it was in the late 1800s when she got the prophecy. Let me see if I can find the right one. The late 1800s. Yes, 1895, Alice Bailey first channeled from the master Kutumi. Kutumi. That's nothing but another name for the god Horus. Rahiru Kahudi Kutumi. It's just a different phrase. Kutumi. She first channeled it, that was in 1895. In 1895, it gave her a prophecy, and it said, in the 1990s, look at this, in the 1990s, 1990, the teachings of Shambhala will be given to the Atlantic, or out to the Atlantic. Now, what does that mean? Shambhala is a mystical place. In India, Shambhala is Shambhala. In Egypt or Kemet, it's mental. In children and in teenagers, to a certain energy. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes they say, they say what? Youth is wasted on the young. You know what I'm saying? But there's a certain energy and all that's just misplaced like crazy because they don't have no knowledge. So they end up running amok. But there's a certain energy in a young, but by the time a person starts getting into 35 going on into 40, there's a certain energy that burns out and the fears start coming. You start fearing a lot of things. And if you notice, there's certain people in a certain age group, you might be going in your 40s, 50s, 60s. You can't talk to everybody. They went to high school with you. You understand what I'm saying? But you can look at those people and say, I know damn well 30 or 40 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, you would have been down. See where I'm coming from? Like my mother. There's certain amount that she will accept. But I remember my mother, if this particular information came down in the 70s, she would be a goddess. You see what I'm saying? So it's a certain energy. So now what's happening here is this. That's why if you are doing it now, that means you are more advanced than what you think you are. You understand where I'm coming from? You're more advanced than what you think you are. The people in high school, they don't have no problem with it. It just so happens they don't have the knowledge. So too often they fall off a path. But one thing about some of them brothers and sisters in the high school, if you guide them the right way, they will be down right off hand. So like one of the brothers came from the Nation of Islam in 1992 and was talking to some brothers from high school, and there was some brothers in college and brothers in high school, and every high school boy got up to sign up, ready to throw down. You see what I'm saying? But right when some of them was in college, they were a little reserved about certain things. Don't necessarily mean that they had to actually join, but I'm trying to show you the commitment of some of the younger people. But it's just the guidance is not there. Now, going back to what I'm saying, this particular information is being bombarded now, but it's only one key to it now. Now you can't give it away. You basically have to beat a nigga in the head to let him even listen to this kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? To get them to listen to this. So if you notice, things kind of still peter out. Years ago, we would have tore this particular information up, but it wasn't here. Now the information is here, and we can't find 2 or 3 people that really down with this particular stuff. So it kind of peters out, but now it is here for the ones that are supposed to receive it. And basically, you wrote a whole bunch of material before you went to sleep eons ago, so you can get this particular information when you start waking up. And now, because it's the end time, you need a certain amount of information now because you're waking up. Now, white people have had this particular information in their possessions for 140 years. But as a result, they understood one thing. Now, how did we actually get it? Because the prophecy said it would come in 1990. How did we actually get it? We actually got this particular information for one reason. White people had this particular stuff since the late 1800s. They found found out somewhere around 1985, going into the 1990s, that this stuff was not helping them. They had accessed this knowledge, but they were not able to raise themselves up spiritually. They don't have one convert to Christhood whatsoever. See what I'm saying? Out of all this knowledge, now they done had 140 years to access this thing to raise themselves up higher, and they don't have one convert to Christ. You got a lot of people fronting. You understand what I'm saying? But a convert to Christ means that all of us are feeling. Whoever gets to the higher realm. So obviously, we down here and the devil's still down here, so something's wrong. What's that, brothers?
How did they get the knowledge and where did they get it?
I'll explain that to you. Because it's very key that you're saying this. It's very key. That's why I'm starting more to listen more and more to question and answer. Because the Spirit comes and your question is actually an answer. So I'm going to go into that in 1 minute. They got this knowledge. They found out around 1985 that they said, listen, we haven't been able to do anything with this stuff. We need to put this stuff out to the masses. So we can get some fresh young minds of white people that might be able to tap into this. But also we'll put this stuff out to get some particular information. So because the black people have melanin, when they tap into it, we can spy and get it in, get the right information anyway. Now what happened? What happened was, is when we found out that we were falling, we started writing this particular information down for 300 or 400, 500 years, 5,000 years. We wrote this information and we cataloged this particular information. Some of it got burned up and it didn't matter because you can't destroy knowledge. Then somewhere in the process of 2,000 years up to the time of the fall of Spain, we literally gave the knowledge to white people so they can be the custodians, thinking that they're doing this, getting this knowledge for themselves. They would actually save the knowledge and preserve the knowledge for us. So the New Age movement is not for white people to advance. They think they're doing it for themselves. As a result, they have preserved the particular information for us. And now we are able to get it because we knew after coming out of slavery, we wasn't going to print no books. We just now started to read. You understand what I'm saying? Plus, we don't have the money. Plus, we're not just talking about the basic black experience that come with Afrocentric knowledge. We're talking about knowledge that has to come from all over the world. So the white man, being the great conqueror that he is able to steal everything from around the world and put it in one library. And as a result, you get these Llewellyn publications, Samuel Weiser publications, and indirectly, inadvertently, they're giving the knowledge to us thinking that it's a new age for them. So now when we started waking up, we just go to a bookstore and get it. But we don't need the masses of the people to do it. We only need who we got right now. Because the masses of the people ain't never did but one thing, what? Died. You see what I'm saying? We only need what we have right now for the whole masses. So it's almost like the Spirit is always guiding this stuff. Even when they think that they're doing something for themselves, they're doing stuff for us. You see what I'm saying? So now this particular knowledge is back because we systematically put it in their hands so we can get it at this particular time. And now we're at the golden age. But unlike the 60s, unlike the 30s, because you know we got the 30s that came around, you had a renaissance, then the 60s come around, you got a renaissance. You understand what I'm saying? Unlike that, or the late 1800s, you got a renaissance, you know, with your reconstruction. Unlike that, this is for keeps. You understand what I'm saying? We ain't going beyond where 20 years or 30 years down the road, we looking and saying, yeah, remember brother named Bobby Hemmitt was talking, you know, Brother Delbert Blair, or the whole Afrocentric thing that went down, Leonard Jeffries or Dr. Ben, and we'll be reminiscing on these fellas, just like we reminisced on Marcus Garvey and all the people out of the 30s, W.E.B. Du Bois. You understand? No, this ain't going down this way because this is the final stuff. Why? Because we got the completion of the knowledge. The first stage in the 30s was just basically a black identity, period. Then in the 1960s, it was just basically a black person getting themselves in a certain position. Then the first leg of the Afrocentric movement is where we actually permeated Kemet, Egypt, and went back to Africa in a certain thing that we started in the 60s. And now we're into the whole scheme of things because we done gone off the damn planet with this stuff. You see what I'm saying? UFOs, astro bodies, got the diet going on, disappearing, doing rituals, doing this type of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And it's going, but now it's here, but right at this particular time, because it ain't going beyond the particular time that we're dealing with right now. So people say, well, man, you've been saying that for the last 3, 4, 5 years. It's been over for the last 3 or 4, 5 years. You got to understand, if a house is on fire, you might not calculate the time when the actual wood might burn to the ashes, but you just know that the house is on fire. You understand where I'm coming from? So this is what we're dealing with at this particular time. We got to understand. We got to understand why you were here, but on the other hand, we got to understand that we got to stop looking outside of ourselves. Now, the first leg was to be humble. And humility is, it's supposed to be, you don't supposed to ask yourself the question, whether I'm humble. It's supposed to be just natural. The next thing is to get to a particular point where you start taking ancestors. Like they said, what will happen to them is they'll find out that you are feeding them, and more of them will come and show up and bless your house, and you'll get more and more energy. You see what I'm saying? So those are some things you ought to do also, too. Also, like I said before the other night, that's why you need a pencil and a piece of paper if you don't, or you can get it from your other friend. That's going to be Revelation 2:10. In Revelation 2:10 it says, indeed, the devil is about to throw you into jail, into prison. So right there, that ought to let you know who the devil is. It says, indeed, the devil is about to throw you into prison, that you may be tested, and you will have tribulation for 10 days. Each day is like a year to the Lord, or each day to God is like a year to you. Be faithful unto death, I will give you the crown of life. They're talking about be faithful until you go and cross over. The 10 days is talking about 10 years. And that 10 years of tribulation that they're talking about started in 1985 when the devil started throwing us into jail off of his final insult was the crack cocaine, which put more black people in jail than before. Although he's been throwing us in jail for the history of him jails. But right there it tells you who is the devil. The one that's going to throw you in jail. You see what I'm saying? The one that is going to throw you into jail. So they're telling you that the white man is a doggone devil. You see. Not some spook devil that's tempting you, because if this person is tempting you, why is God on your side? So it's telling you that the one that's throwing you in jail is the white man, but it's also telling you that, number one, I am for the brothers and sisters that you think is out there that's lost. Those are the more elect. You see. Those are the ones that's more elect. You see. Jesus is coming back, as some of you say in the Bible. It would be the Christ is coming back, and we'll explain that Christ thing for the downtrodden, or for the pain and the suffering. Now, there's one that Awas gives in a passage I found, and it deals with, in a passage I found, and it says, this is what it says. Children of earth, rejoice, rejoice. Okay, let me just read a few. It says, in the name of the Lord of initiation, Amen. I fly and I alight as an hawk, saying this person is like a hawk. That's the God, Heru, of Christ. He said, of the mother, emerald, and my mighty sweeping wings. So he's talking about what kind of character he is. Swoop down upon the black earth. The black earth. And it says also, and it is gladdened into the green of my coming. So whatever it is, these people are happy that he's coming. Children of earth, first of all, which earth? Children of the black earth. Rejoice, rejoice exceedingly, for your salvation is at hand. And the end, and it says, and the end of sorrow is come, which means has come. And it says, I will ravish you, and it says, I will ravish you away into mine utterable joy. And I will kiss you. When they say kiss you, they're talking about the ones who have the black dot that was kissed by Newt. And bring you to the bridal. You hear about the bridegrooms in the Bible. The bridegroom and the bride. The bridegroom is you. The bride is your bosom of your mother, which would be the triple blackness of space. And I will spread a feast before you in the house of happiness. And it says, I am not come, that's the way he talks, I am not come to rebuke you or enslave you. You see what I'm saying? I bid you not to turn from your voluptuous ways and all your idleness and your follies. Your voluptuous ways that they're talking about, all the stuff that you go through and all the stuff that the Bible calls sins, it's saying, I forbid you not to turn from your voluptuous ways, because it's saying that the ones I'm coming for is the ones that's caught up in all this hell. You see what I'm saying? So it's giving you a key indication on the ones that they call the righteous, not a one that has a law-abiding life. You understand what I'm saying? To the point whereas some white people would register on that, because at this particular time some of them act more humane than we do. You see what I'm saying? Which goes back to the next passage that I read the other night in J.F.C. Fuller's Wisdom, Secret Wisdom of the Kabbalah, where it says that the Holy One inflicts suffering on the righteousness in this world, so that he may merit the next world to come. That's not talking about on a Christian level, when I get to heaven, I need to, it's talking about the ones so they may inherit the next world to come. It's talking about the next dimension. And it says, but he who is weak of soul, the soul is melanin, and strong of body is the most hated of God. So God hates the white man. It is because he has no pleasure in him that he inflicts no pain upon him in this world, but permits life to go along smoothly, along with ease and comfort, in that for any virtuous act that he may perform, he will receive his reward in this world, so no portion should be left for him in the next world. All right. That's in the Holy Kabbalah, which is the precursor to the Bible, which means your Bible comes from an esoteric book that the priests took to write the original esoteric books. They took to write the Bible because they know that the man had gone to a savage level, and mainly they was talking about the doggone white man for the simple fact that they knew he would be ruling the world. Now, first of all, for the brothers and sisters on the frequency, because we're not talking to brothers and sisters that's like, it's one good part about this lecture, it's not like it's a mass, grouping of people where you won't have a 4 or 5 people to know what time it is. This one that they're talking about here, the brothers and sisters that's on the frequency, is talking about you. You should know better. So therefore, there is no, the main thing that's going to get you out of what is going on, or get you out of your trouble, is the first thing you need to do is get rid of the fear of a devil that don't exist. Yeah. The fear of the devil is actuality. The white man fears you because you are his devil. And once you understand that there's no evil spirits out there and stuff like that that's more powerful than you, and the fear of the devil, then therefore you will be on your way. That's the problem. When you see some things, so the white boy, when he write these books, he gonna write these books to scare you. You understand what I'm saying? He gonna write these books to scare you. So when you find out that there's no such thing as a doggone fear, then you get it. That's just like that Freddy Krueger movie. They make these movies off of your science. Freddy Krueger could only come after you based on your fear. He fed off of your fears. And you know, most animals won't even, most dogs won't even bite you if they know you're not scared of them. They have that sense. Well, that's the same way the way it is. What's the way you look at the abyss, which is a mirror, which is the cosmic mirror, is the way it's going to look back at you. If you are scared and you're expecting an entity, then that's what's going to come. You see what I'm saying? Something and it's only in your mind. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's all only in the mind of God. So we're talking about putting on the mind of God, which means no fears. Check? All right. So let's go into some current events. Then we'll go into some other things. First of all, like we said, that the storm that happened in Africa is coming from Africa. These storms are coming because some brothers and sisters over there have now regained the power that was locked out of the dimensions before. They have regained the power that they can bring these particular storms now in here and kill up the cracker. So that's why those particular storms are going through the middle passage. And when they go through the middle passage, what is happening is, when they go through the particular middle passage, they pick up the spirits that have been trapped up under the ground or up under the water, and those spirits ride the waves, and they're coming in for destruction. So far, the last couple of months, they've only just been toying with the people. You see, building up enough energy for something even greater to even happen. You see, because we are just now starting hurricane season, so that's nothing compared to what's getting ready to happen to them. Check. And it doesn't necessarily mean hurricanes. It means heat waves. It means earthquakes. It means anything. So it don't even happen to be seasonal because the earthquake can hit at any time.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? You see floods, showers, snowstorms, any kind of thing, blizzards, avalanches, all of that. You see, can hit at any time. Another plague can come through and kill off the cracker because you're immune to half the stuff anyway, other than the disease that he creates. And all you have to do is raise your kundalini and do the right thing and you can kill anything. Check. So now, those are when they also had a heat wave in Texas this summer, where they had a heat wave, then they had a thunderstorm, and then the next thing happened was the temperature went all the way to doggone 30 degrees in one day. From a heat wave, almost 100 degrees, a thunderstorm, and the temperature going to 30 degrees in doggone August, 1st of August. You see what I'm saying? So these are the kind of things that's going on. Also, they announced the beginning of servitude slavery on July 23rd. July 23rd is the heroic horizon of Sirius, our new year. They announced the beginning of servitude slavery on CNN channel, showing you certain things about people in slave camps, even though they showed a little bit of black people to throw you off. They was actually announcing the beginning of servitude slavery, which means servitude slavery is the bondage slavery that was ended in, what, 1865. So in 1995, they announced it again in July. You see, in July, right after June 19th also of the latest slavery that was abolished. So they announced they announced this particular slavery on July 23rd, and they did it in a particular way, slavery in America. So when you go into the TV set, you say you just think it's just an individual people that's on some little work camps, but you don't know when they put it out there, because CNN and you know that Ted Turner is one of the head of the Illuminati, get Conspirators Hierarchy, Committee of 300, the book, John Coleman's book, Conspirators Hierarchy. You'll find out that Ted Turner is one of those people because he got to be. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to have a powerful CNN that took over all of the doggone news. So you don't get it now unless it comes through CNN. You see. As well as that's the reason why they're the one that's covering this particular choreographed show called the O.J. Simpson trial that they choreographed, and all the players up in there are clones and all kinds of